Hey, this is April with Mastermind Daycare, and I am back with another video. Today, I want to talk about taking time off in your home daycare. Taking time off in your home daycare. So, excuse me, I was coughing a little bit, which brings us to the point. You have to take off. So, taking time off in your home daycare would be a little different than taking time off in a center. Of course, in a center, they're going to have substitutes, hopefully, and backup teachers that can fill in for one another when someone calls out or gets sick. In your home daycare, you should have an alternate individual. In the state of Maryland, there are substitute. They also can be an additional adult that's there with you, but that person's there with you all the time. So if you're calling out, you would essentially have a substitute that's coming in for that day or a couple of hours or whatnot. So first things first, at the start of the year, you want to plan your entire year. You want to plan what days you're going to be off. So you want to run your home daycare just like a center would. You have to let families know in advance what days you're going to be off. Now, you may not always know, if you had doctor's appointments or if you do get sick, but there are days that you should plan in advance that you'll be off. So they might be your vacation days, they might be, the national holidays that we have each year. They might be the school days that your child has off. So go through each month of the year. The school does it and they send out their annual calendar at the beginning of the year or towards the end of the year as well. So at my home daycare, I plan my year according to the school calendar because I do have a little one that's in school. So they send out the school calendar and I'll look at that school calendar and take the same days off that the school is having off. That way I am not working in the home daycare when my child is home from school. I am able to spend time with my child. And you do have to learn that there is a balance. You are running a business, but your child has to come first and you have to make time for family. You do want to make time for, the children and care as well. But first and foremost, you have to make time for family. So those are family days where we spend quality time together, whether we're going out to the movies, to the aquarium, or just having a quiet day at home, or the park. We might do something that day, but the day is planned in advance. So I look at the school calendar at the end of the year in December when they make it, and I will plan out my entire year and I'll send that calendar out to my families. So you want to copy the school's calendar or not, it's your business, you're going to do what you want to do. And you can also work in additional days for you. The school does it, and a lot of daycares have staff development days. So if you need days for yourself, whether you need to go to the doctor's office, run errands, you want to have those days set in advance so that you're not, taking off at the last minute. Days will come up, but you want to try as much as possible to have your calendar set in advance. Remember, you're operating just like a center would and just like the school system would, where you're notifying families in advance when you're going to be off. So that is our calendar. Also, in addition to the calendar, you want to have those days in your handbook and in your contract. So you may not know the particular dates, but you'll know the holidays and closures that are going to be, pretty much the same each year. You're going to take off President's Day, You're going to take off Memorial Day, 4th of July. Like, have those set in your handbook and in your contract, all of the days. And at the beginning of the year, you just hand out the specific dates for that calendar year to your parents. Hand it out, and you can send it via email, via newsletter, what have you. But you're sending it out at the beginning of the year, and you're having it in your handbook and in your contract. So when parents sign up to enroll their child in your care, they can see all of the days in advance that the school will be closed. And a lot of them don't read the handbook and contract. They just sign it. So you might have to also bring it to their attention. So and so, I know you signed this, but I just want to reiterate, these are our closure days. So I just, even though the parents sign it, I send updates out and friendly reminders out to our families that, this is just a friendly reminder. On Memorial Day, we will be closed. So they'll know in advance that you are closed on that day. And in addition to that, below the day that we're closed, I'll have the calendar again, just in case they missed it. I'll send the annual calendar out with each friendly reminder. Just say that, these are the dates. Please see the dates for the entire year that our school will be. Please see the dates for the entire year for the holidays, for the school holidays and closures. That way, they have it in advance in case they miss it, which they might here and there miss it. And they'll say, oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. So you're just sending that out in advance for them so that they have it. Now, when you're running a home daycare, you have little ones coming in your home that are sick. And I think for the first year, at the time of this video, we've been operating for about 3 years now. So the first year, I was really good. My immune system was strong. I was good to go. I didn't need any sick days. I think it was probably towards the second year, I really got sick, and no one talks about the sick days that you'll need as a home daycare provider, and the days you have to, run to urgent care, or run to the ER, or run to, it's really hard to make a doctor's appointment nowadays, unless you've had the doctor for a long time. They're scheduling you way out, a month or two ahead of time. So I always end up going to urgent care when I do need to go, because you can walk right in and they'll see you. But I'm fortunate enough to have a substitute that is reliable. My mother is a retired kindergarten teacher, which fits right into our program. She knows how to work with the children, because she taught kindergarten for all those years. So, and she loves, just helping out. Even when I don't need her, she always wants to be here. So she really helps me. But, not everyone has someone like her to help you. So what do you do, when you need to take off, when you get sick? Because the kids do come in, and as much as you love them, they're coughing and sneezing and hacking, and it's good to have an air purifier. I need to get that, but my space is small. Your space might be a little bit bigger. It might be your whole first floor. My space is one room, and it's my basement, and that's the room that's licensed by the state of Maryland. So it's one room where, kids are coughing and sneezing, especially towards the end of the year during flu season. It's very hard. It's very challenging to I always like to phrase things in a positive way. So let's just say I always stay well during that time. So what do you do when you do have to run out and you don't have that backup? Because let's just face it, as home daycare providers, the budget is smaller to pay payroll. I did have an assistant when we first were licensed, and she was with us for about 2 to 3 months, and didn't really last after that. So you really have to be wise in the way that you choose your talents. And a lot of times in home daycares, we're not that way, or even if we are, because I do feel like I am. I did work in corporate America for 15 years as a project manager. I did hiring as well. So I do know how to hire the right type of talent. But the problem with home daycares is you don't have the budget. Um, you want to set the budget very low with their hourly rate. And at that low rate, you're going to get a candidate that may not want to do the work. You may look up and get someone that does want to do the work, and is there for you. And kudos to you if you do. But it's just challenging working with a small budget in your home. So in the state of Maryland, we're only allowed to have up to 8 children for a small daycare. So I would suggest, because there were times when I had to run out to patient first, whether it was for me or if my son woke up sick. So what do? If you don't have that backup? You have to have it in your contract and in your handbook, that you have sick days. Just like on a job in corporate America, you're granted sick days. So parents can't expect you to be a robot and be 100% every day, all the time. So whether you have 5 sick days in your calendar, 6 to 8 sick days, your body. You can look at your records from the previous year and just ask your doctor, or whether it's urgent care or if you have a primary physician. You're lucky if you do. But just ask them, how many days did I come last year? And during what periods of the year did you go? Was it more so towards the end of the year? Was it more so towards the beginning in January, February, March? Those are still colder months as well. But get the stats from the previous year of how often you visited the doctor. Get how many days you went, and work that into your contract so that parents know in advance that you do have 5 sick days or you do have 8 sick days for the year. Because you don't want to be coughing and sneezing all over everyone. And if you do have a temperature, you really can't be in the classroom, because the kids can if they have one, and it really goes for you as well. So, you tell them in as much advance as you can, whether it's late the night before, early that morning, I'm so sorry. You can even tape yourself sick so that they can see you. You shouldn't have to do that though, because it is in your contract. I'm so sorry that I'm under the weather this morning. I'm running out to patient first. Hopefully I'll feel better by the end of the day, but I need to take this day to myself. So and they just if they chose you as a provider, they have to understand that, because they'll what do they do when they're sick? They call out, and stay home and rest. So you can't be so worried about, well, what will they think? What will they do? They'll figure it out. You have to be your best self in order to care for the children. If you're not well, who's going to care for them? You have to get well. So take the time that you need for yourself and make sure that you work that into your contract. Make sure you check with your physician and work it into your contract and your handbook that in addition to the holidays and closures, And this is if you need to, if you don't have the substitute. In addition to the holidays and closures, um, I do have 5. No, I'm just throwing out this number. You do what's best for you. I do have 5 sick days. I don't plan on taking them, but if need be, I have 5 to use them. I will let you know as soon as I can when I am taking off. But, we all have to stay well. I want to be the best provider that I can for your kiddos. And in order to do that, I have to take care of my overall well-being. And with that said, they should understand. Of course, they'll understand during the tour, but you always get asked those questions during the tour. Well, what happens when you get sick? Well, what happens when you get sick on your job? You call out. So, and it's not like you want to call out all the time, but you're no better than me and I'm no better than you. We're all human beings that get sick. So when I get sick, I call out. But in my case, I use my substitute. But do what you have to do for yourself. Find a substitute that you can, a family member, if you're going to pay them, do that, work that into your budget. And if you don't have a budget to hire someone, don't fret, work it into your contract. You should be able to take off if you need to. And whoever's meant for you, the families that are meant to be in your care will be in your care and they'll understand. The families that are not meant to be in your care, I always think about this way, will not be in your care. Whoever's meant to stay in your care will be in your care and they'll understand. You're not a robot. So take the days off that you need to take off. And this also goes, in addition to the sick days and the holidays and the closures, if you are a working mother, you have children that have events at their school. I don't know how many events at my son's school I had to go to. So yesterday, I signed up previously to go on a field trip with my son, and I was so happy that I was able to go, but I was only able to take off and go because my mom is my substitute. And she was fine staying with the kids. And I just let the families know in advance, good morning, Mastermind families. Miss April has a field trip today to attend at Gabriel's school. Miss Rhymes will be in the classroom today because we're required by licensing to notify the families when we're taking the day off. So I notified them, that I was out. And I was really able to enjoy the day with my son at his school. And there's nothing that's just priceless. There's nothing better than that. There's other days that I went to school as well. They have a Learn With Me in his classroom where I was able to go to his school and do activities with him. What activity did we do? They talked about bees and pollinators. It's May right now, and the planting season. So we talked about bees and pollinators. It was really interesting. And so they had to do manual pollination. Because all the bees left, so they had to create their own bee or their own manual pollinator. And they gave us pom-poms and pipe cleaners and cotton balls. It was really cute, and foil, all this rinky-dinky stuff. But the way it was presented was really cute and really creative. And so the kids made their own bees and made these, creative machines that, and they used baking soda as the pollen, they filled the cup with baking soda. And so the kids put their creation, they poured baking soda. They drew two flowers, one with baking soda on it and one without, and they dipped their bees in the baking soda and manually pollinated the other flower. I thought that was so cute. So, but I was able to attend that, and I was able to see my son, create that on his own. Of course, he didn't let me help him, and all my ideas were bad. But, I sat back, hands off, and watched him do it and watched his friends, ask him for help and do it along with him. But I got to experience that because I had a substitute. And y'all get to experience those things too because y'all have it worked into your contract that you can take off and you'll have those days in advance in your contract. Another day I was able to take off and go to was his kindergarten graduation. I would never miss something like that. I would have packed everyone up in the car and gone, even if I didn't have a substitute. There's so many days that you have to go to as a mom at your kid's school. And a lot of times being a home daycare provider, it's like you're stuck in the house and you have to be creative with finding ways to do the things you need to do. So I have it in our enrollment paperwork, to a field trip. The parents have to sign off on all the places that we may go to. So I have Target, Walmart, the library, and I really never go to these places. We'll go to Target twice a year for our emergency disaster drill, which we have to do. And I have his elementary school as a location as well because I want their permission to take the kids to the elementary school in case of an emergency and I have to go to my son's school. And an emergency would have been a kindergarten graduation because I'm not going to miss that. I'm not going to miss my son's graduation because I'm here in the daycare taking care of all the kids, and I miss and I don't see, some of the major milestones in my son's life. So you have to make sure as a daycare provider that you live your best life as well. You want to be the best provider that you can and take care of the kids as well as create that balance and be the best mom that you can and be there for your family and your children as well. And that's the balance that I've learned over the past 3 years and that I'm still learning now. And I lucked out in having a amazing substitute. My mother, retired kindergarten teacher. So it was the best scenario for me. And you'll figure out, what you need to do as well. And it might take time, but you just have to take time to reflect on your needs, the needs of your daycare and the children, and the needs of your family. And just be sure to create that balance so that you're there for the kids, the parents understand your contract and handbook, and they know you're not a robot, that you're a human being as well, and that you balance your family and your family's needs. And most importantly, you balance your needs because you are number one. Without you, everything else will not be. So you have to be the best that you can be, health-wise, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, so that you can provide for others and create the best home for your family, create the best space in your daycare. And you can be your best self where you're able to happily provide the care that the children need. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that this resonated with you, and I'll see you in the next video.